Back then I didn't know nobody holds on to every wrong word or the way that I felt. The moments I carried around for years, everyone else forgot that day. Now I've lived long enough to know being forgotten doesn't mean being alone. When no one else is holding on to my past, I'm free to begin again today. When I was young, I'd say one little thing, then replay every face all night. If someone took a second longer to laugh, I wondered if I'd said something wrong. Whenever I fell in front of a crowd, I thought they'd remember it all their lives. A moment no one ever mentioned again, and carried it alone for years. I thought every eye was watching me, underlining every mistake. So instead of saying what I wanted, I chose the safest thing to say. Back then I didn't know nobody holds on to every wrong word or the way that I felt. The moments I carried around for years, everyone else forgot that day. Now I've lived long enough to know being forgotten doesn't mean being alone. When no one else is holding on to my past, I'm free to begin again today. They forget, the world moves on so quickly. They forget, so maybe I can let it go. I met an old friend after all those years. We laughed about the way we used to be. I finally asked about that one old night, the memory I never wanted them to see. Their face went blank, they couldn't place it at all. For a moment I didn't know what to say. I had lost so many nights replaying it. They hadn't saved a trace of that day. People weren't always watching me, they were trying to make it through their days. They weren't busy judging my mistakes, they were busy hiding their own way. Now I know that nobody holds on to what I wore, the words I got wrong, the moments I treated like the end of the world were moments everyone else moved on from. Now I've lived long enough to know being forgotten doesn't make me small. When nobody is watching who I used to be, I'm free to choose another road. But the years have finally shown me the audience never stays for long. While I was shaking underneath the spotlight, they worried about their own turn coming on. Being forgotten used to frighten me, now it gives me room to breathe. If yesterday's version isn't set in stone, today I'm free to be somebody new. Now I know that nobody holds on to every wrong word or the way that I felt. The moments I carried like they last forever, everyone else had already let go. Now I've lived long enough to know being forgotten can set me free. When nobody is carrying my past around, today can be a new beginning for me. I won't hide just to look perfect, I won't stand still to avoid mistakes. Everyone is busy living their own life, so now I'm finally living mine. Tonight I may replay the awkward way I stumbled through a moment in my day, but after a while I'll let it go. I think I finally know how some things only come with living, and somehow make the burden light. The world forgets me sooner than I thought, and that has given me my life. We invented none, and taught ourselves to dreaded. Carved numbers on the face of our clock. Now we're always running late. The world has never heard of deadlines. The sun doesn't rise because it's scheduled to. Still inside the rules that we created, we spend our lives waiting to be free. The sun doesn't know what day it is. It rises without checking the time. We cut a day into 24 pieces, then learn to fear falling behind. There isn't a single line in the sky. Still maps are covered in boundaries. We gave every piece of land a name and own it, and now we need permission just to leave. The agreements we made to help us live somehow grew larger than life itself. We gave a name to every number. Now we stand in line beneath them. We invented money and taught ourselves to dread it. Carved numbers on the face of a clock. Now we're always running late. The world has never heard of deadlines. The sun doesn't rise because it's scheduled to. Still inside the rules that we created, we spend our lives waiting to be free. We built walls of stone and called them prisons. Locked away a person and their time for stepping over lines that someone drew. Someone else decides the price. We wrote laws to give the world some order, then built power to enforce the laws. Scales designed to measure right and wrong. Now measure what a human life is worth. The doors we lock to keep us safe sometimes won't unlock from the inside. Everything we built to live together still leaves somebody outside. We invented Monday, now we spend it waiting for Friday, putting off our lives for 5 whole days, then playing free for only 2. The world has never heard of weekends. The tide comes in on every holiday. Still inside the calendar we created, we keep waiting for a life we're free to live. With our gift for making fiction real, we raised our cities and societies. Those beliefs helped us survive together. So why do we feel smaller than the things we made? Monday isn't written into nature. Borders aren't the scars the earth was born with. If we made them, but we cannot change them, are they still our tools or are they masters? We invented Monday so we can make a different kind of Monday. Let the clock become a tool that serves us, not the judge that measures every life. The world has never heard of deadlines, so maybe being late is not a crime. If these rules are ours, then we can write them with a little more humanity. The sun goes down without knowing what day it was or asking permission. I look at the watch around my wrist, then step outside the world of numbers. Monday morning will return tomorrow, but I won't mistake it for a law of nature. In this world we built to live together, I won't forget to live while I am here. A friend calls me in the middle of the night, still holding on to someone who let them go. I say to leave behind the ones who hurt you, that they were worth more than they thought they'd ever know. I speak so calmly like I know the answers, like I already know what they need. Then the call ends and I spend an hour reading through our old messages again. From the outside, someone else's troubles come with exits clearly marked. But the moment I step into my own emotions, every map goes dark. If I took my own advice, I'd be doing pretty well by now. I can light the road for everybody else, then lose my way when it's my turn somehow. It isn't that I don't know the answers, living by them is the harder part. Why do all the words I give to someone else lose their power when they reach my heart? Take your own advice, you say it all the time. Take your own advice, tonight just listen to yourself. I tell them they don't have to say yes every time, that no one owes the world their peace of mind. When someone finds it hard to hold their ground, I say they have every right to draw that line. Then my phone rings when I'm already exhausted, and once again I hear myself say yes. I hang up with a sigh and have to laugh at how I never pass my own little test. I tell my friends to put their burdens down, then pile another one on mine. I know the world won't end if I say no, so why can't I say it this time? If I took my own advice, maybe life would feel much lighter now. I can draw the line for everybody else, then let the whole world wear my boundaries down. It isn't that I don't know what courage is, it's carrying the fear that makes it hard. Why do all the words I give to someone else go silent when it's time to play my part? Take your own advice, it always sounds so easy. Take your own advice, still I only nod along. Maybe this is not about dishonesty, and more about the way we're made. From outside of the pain, we see the pathway. From within it, every sign begins to fade. Close the conversation, turn that favor down, write the opening sentence, start right here and now. I'm gonna take my own advice and take one honest step today. Let the words that lit the road for everyone shine a little light upon my way. No one doesn't mean I've lived it yet, I can learn to take it piece by piece. All the kindness I have offered someone else's kindness I deserve to give to me. Even when I fail to take my own advice, it doesn't mean that every word was false. Instead of laughing at myself for falling down, I'll tell myself how to get back up. Take your own advice, believe yourself tonight. Take your own advice, you deserve some care as well. When a friend calls in the middle of the night, I'll still try to find the words they need. But after we hang up, I'll leave one of those words somewhere in my own heart to keep. To work before the doors could close, I held the elevator for someone running late. When the rain was falling on a stranger's shoulders, I quietly leaned my umbrella their way. And when I saw the tired face behind the counter, I smiled and said, take your time, it's fine. And when I found a glove lying on the sidewalk, I left it somewhere easy for its owner to find. No picture taken, no name remembered, no story anyone would ever tell. But for a moment, between two strangers, a little warmth passed quietly between us. Even if nobody saw it, even if nobody remembers, if one tiny ripple that I set in motion made the world a little warmer. If somewhere someone I will never know found one small reason to smile that day, if they felt a little spark of happiness, that would be enough for me. Pass it on, pass it on. No one has to know. Pass it on, pass it on. Kindness knows which way to go. On the final bus late in the evening, I woke a sleeping stranger for their stop. When someone stood there with their hands full, I held the heavy door until they crossed. When a friend looked tired and fell into silence, I sat beside them without asking why. Instead of saying they should keep on trying, I said you did enough just getting through tonight. I didn't have an answer for their heartache, I couldn't make the hurt all disappear. But sometimes simply knowing you're not lonely is enough to take one more step from here. Even if there is no applause, even if I never hear thank you, if one tiny ripple that I set in motion reaches someone's lonely evening, if somewhere someone carrying a heavy day could set a little of that burden down, if they felt a little spark of happiness, that would be enough for me. Pass it on, pass it on. No one needs to know where it began. Pass it on, pass it on. Warmth creates more warmth again. Then one day when I was caught out in the rain, someone leaned their umbrella over me. And when my arms were full and I was struggling, a stranger held a heavy door for me. They walked away as if it were nothing, but I watched them disappear into the crowd. It felt like some small kindness I had once released had traveled all that way and circled back around. A kindness never really disappears, it only changes hands along the way. And by the time we've all forgotten where it started, it has quietly become the way we live. Not every kindness finds its way back home, and this world has never promised to be fair. Sometimes an open hand is left unanswered, sometimes even gentle hearts get tired. But who was watching matters so much less than knowing someone hurt a little less. Once a tiny stone has touched the water, there's no telling where the ripples end. Maybe they will feel a little lighter and offer someone else a passing smile. Maybe that smile will reach another heart and become a nameless happiness a while. I won't say that kindness saves the whole world, those words are far too heavy to be true. Maybe it just keeps the world from growing colder by protecting some small warmth in me and you. One step more slowly, one word more gently, holding up the weight of someone's day briefly. No name, no praise, no story to be told. One tiny ripple can travel farther than we know. Even if nobody saw it, Even if nobody remembers, if one tiny ripple that I set in motion made the world a little warmer. If somewhere someone I will never know found one small reason to smile today, if a little happiness stayed inside their heart, that would be enough for me. The door I hold open for someone today may be held by someone else tomorrow. Even if we never learn each other's names, the feeling can keep traveling on. Pass it on, pass it on. No one has to know. Pass it on, pass it on. A willing heart is all it takes. Pass it on, pass it on. Let it ripple as it goes. Pass it on, pass it on. Just let the kindness grow. The world moved quickly on again today, and countless moments vanished without a trace. But if somebody felt a little less alone, then that day did not go to waste. If the tiny ripple I sent out reached a heart I may never know, and gave them just one moment of happiness, then today held all the warmth it needed to hold. I was born when morning meets the water, in a little town beside the waves, where the daylight gently filled the windows, and the eastern wind shaped all my days. You were born where sunlight meets the harbor, where the ships came drifting in and out. You grew up beneath the western sunset, watching evening colors pouring down. I grew to know the ocean in the morning. You grew to know the ocean late at night. Before we even knew the other existed, were we looking at the same tide? How did you and I ever meet from two distant edges of the world? I came from where the sun rose on the water. You came from where it disappeared. Among a billion lives and countless cities, if one small moment hadn't gone this way, two people who might never know each other's names somehow became each other's home one day. You came from the sunset, I came from the sunlight, somewhere between two oceans. Your life found mine. I never knew the child you were back then, and you never knew the younger me. We grew up on different roads and stories, moving through our separate years quietly. The train I missed, the plans you rearranged, the day we both arrived a little late. If either one of us had chosen differently, our lives might never have crossed that way. Is destiny a road already written, or just 1,000 chances falling into place? I may never know, but since the day I met you, every road behind me seems connected. How did you and I ever meet when we grew up listening to different ways? I arrived with eastern winds behind me. You came carrying the western sky. Among 1,000 nights and countless choices, if our timing had been off by just one day, two people who might never pass each other somehow looked and knew enough to stay. You came from the sunset, found mine. Was there some invisible current running underneath those distant seas, carrying my little wave toward you and bringing yours all the way to me? You brought the evening, I brought the morning. 2 different hours became one day. I don't always say I believe in fate, but when I look at you, I almost do. How did you and I ever meet? From 2 distant edges of the world, I left the place where sunlight met the water. You walked out beneath the western glow. Among a billion lights and countless cities, every little chance led us this way. 2 people who might never know each other's names had become a family today. You came from the sunset, I came from the sunrise. Somewhere between 2 oceans, your life found mine. Someday from the sea that knew my morning to the sea that knew your evening sky, we'll walk slowly through each other's beginnings, tracing all the roads that shaped our lives. And somewhere between those distant waters, we'll turn and ask each other with a smile, how did someone living so far away ever find their way into my life? There'll be so much sunlight when we were young. If I missed you, I was first to run. I could bring you something just to see you smile, never asking what I'd get in return. We never counted who called more often or who picked up the dinner bill. We gave our time because we wanted to. No price attached, no score to settle. We never thought that one heart given meant another heart was owed. If your face lit up, then so did mine, and that was all we needed to know. When did love first learn to keep a record? When did giving start to ask for proof? I don't know the moment it began, but somewhere something shifted in the mood. At first I laughed and let it pass, but every word stayed in my mind. Soon I started counting everything you hadn't done for me each time. When did love learn how to count who went first and who gave more? Now every little thing I do for you comes with something I'm waiting for. Everybody says I'm giving too much, but am I really losing anything? Was I too young when your smile was enough, or was I simply more honest then? Give one, get one. Is that what love is supposed to be? We could cut it all right down the middle, but that won't make our hearts beat equally. The older I got, the more love came with something called reality. I learned to guard my time and money and save my heart from injury. My family looked at me with worry. They said I was the one who tried too hard. My friends meant well when they reminded me to make sure everyone was given their share. On nights you didn't call me first, I made myself put down the phone. If you took one step back from me, I made sure I took one of my own. Instead of holding you when I wanted, I remembered who reached out last time. I said I was learning not to get hurt, while forgetting how to love you right. Fairness may protect us both, but every day can't weigh the same. When I'm worn down, you carry more. When you lose your footing, I take the weight. Somewhere love became an equation. Who kept waiting, who arrived late? Every difference I once overlooked became another thing to weigh. I know they only want to protect me, so why are we drifting apart? Am I wiser now that I watch the balance, or just more afraid to trust my heart? Give one, get one comes up short, resentment grows. We made it fair enough to feel secure, so why does love feel poorer than before? Not keeping score doesn't mean I have to tolerate it all. I don't have to disappear inside a love that only asks me to grow small. But every tender thing we offer doesn't need an equal, instant return. Instead of measuring by somebody else's rules, I'll ask if I feel valued in this place. Love may never lose a sense of numbers, but I won't settle every score each night. I want some things I give because I love you, with no return date written by their side. Even if they say I'm giving too much, if I'm not giving up myself, then finding joy inside your happiness isn't foolish loss. It's love itself. We can't return to being young and following our hearts without a care, but growing wiser doesn't mean that love must turn into a cold affair. Before I ask what this is costing me, I'll ask if we are happy here. Even after love has learned to count, I'll let my heart speak first, loud and clear. You never asked me to repay you, so why do I still live like I'm in debt? Trying and lose the hand you gave me, maybe I just never let it go. You're still someone I am grateful for. There's nothing in you I could ever hate. So how does gratitude, when held too tightly, turn into a weight? In the hardest season of my life, you reached for me without asking why. When it felt like no one was on my side, you're the one who stayed. I promised I would pay you back someday. Wrote it somewhere deep inside my heart. You never asked me for that promise still. I let it tie me to the past. What you gave me was an act of kindness, so why do I still feel like I owe? Every time your name lights up my screen, why is that the first place my mind goes? You never asked me to play you, so why can I still live like I'm in debt? Trying not to lose the head you gave me, maybe I just never let it go. You're still someone I am grateful for. There's nothing in you I could ever hate. So how does gratitude, when held too tightly, turn into a weight? Thank you, I still thank you. that has never changed. But why, tell me why, does gratitude keep answering in my place? When you call me late and ask a favor, I put my own plans quietly aside. Why does saying I can't do it tonight feel so much like leaving you behind? You would probably smile and say don't worry. Still I search for reasons to apologize. I imagine disappointment on your face before it ever reaches your eyes. I was taught we must remember kindness, and I've carried that belief for years. But is holding gratitude inside me the same as always putting myself last? You never asked me to repay you, so why do I keep pushing myself aside? Maybe I turned all the love you gave me into one more reason I could never say no. You're still someone who looks out for me, the first to ask me if I'm doing fine. And if I hold this too tightly between us, it could make our friendship hard to carry. Thank you, I truly thank you. That's why honesty feels hard. I'm sorry, already sorry, before you've even taken it to heart. You looked at me one day and said it plainly, that I could say no and things would stay the same. That was when I finally started seeing your hand was never what had kept me there. What you gave me wasn't debt, it was kindness to help me stand again. Not a reason to stay on my knees forever, but the will to walk on my own 2 feet. You never asked me to repay you, and I won't keep living like I'm in your debt. The hand you reached toward me in that moment was never meant to hold me in one place. So instead of hiding in the answers you might want, I wanna meet you as my honest self. Even if I have to say no today, it won't erase what you did for me back then. Thank you, I still thank you. Now the words feel light and true. We're okay, I know we're okay. One honest no won't undo me and you. If another difficult day should find me, I know you call to reach for me again. And if someday you're too tired to keep moving, I will gladly sit beside you then. Not keeping score of who gave more, just asking how the other one has been. May gratitude become a light between us, not a weight that either one must carry. Why does kindness make me look like an easy target? Why does patience make you push a little more? You choose your words around the ones who frighten you, then treat the gentle ones like they don't matter. Being careful out of fear is not respect. Someone staying doesn't give you the right to hurt them. Kindness isn't offered because someone is weak. Even kindness has a boundary. Kind doesn't mean weak. Close doesn't mean careless. Fear is not respect, and love is not permission. The first time you said thank you, the second time you smiled. But after I kept putting you first, you started treating it like my job. When I waited without complaining, you thought it was fine to make me wait. When I let things go without getting angry, you assume that I could never feel the pain. When I take one step back, it doesn't mean you get to take two forward. Even the gentlest voice can draw a line that shouldn't be crossed. Why does kindness make me look like an easy target? If I never say no, why do you keep asking more? You keep your distance from the ones who treat you coldly, then cross every line drawn by someone warm. Bowing out of fear is not respect, and the loudest voice is not the one most right. Kindness isn't chosen because someone has no power. It's having power and choosing not to harm. Kind doesn't mean we're soft, doesn't mean defenseless. Fear is not respect, and silence isn't yes. A colder face, a louder voice, and everybody watches what they say. They choose their words to avoid mistakes and suddenly remember how to behave. But with the one who always greets them warmly, every favor slowly turns into a demand. Even the space that kindness freely offered gets taken like it always belonged to them. If I have to shout before you hear me, were you ever listening at all? If manners only come from feeling frightened, can we really call that respect? I spoke with warmth to everyone I met outside, then came home and gave you something else. I trusted you would never walk away, so I was careless with the safest heart I'd known. I saved enough politeness for the whole world. Why was there no tenderness left for you? Feeling safe means I can take my mask off. Not that I'm allowed to take my pain out on you. Don't mistake my kindness for an invitation. Don't keep crossing lines because I let things go. Don't save your careful words for those who frighten you. Take greater care around a gentle soul, and I won't treat you carelessly because you're close. From all the tenderness I offer to the world, I'll save the very best of it for you. Respect is what remains when fear is gone. Kindness with a boundary, love with dignity. May closeness make us better to the ones we truly need. We can listen without anybody shouting. We can show respect without the threat of fear. A world that doesn't take kindness for granted starts by honoring one simple boundary. And tonight before I walk back through the doorway, I'll save my gentlest words for you. Being the person I feel safest with should mean you're still the one I value.